Joining us now to further discuss and dissect this development is a political analyst, Dr. Omololu Fagbadebo. He joins us from Durban, South Africa. You're welcome, sir.
Good evening. Thank you.
Doctor, very quickly, what really, in your own opinion, really is driving the surge of military takeovers across West Africa?
Well, some analysts have identified some factors. Maybe some says it's the restlessness of the military. But to me, if the domestic policies of the government are well thought out and benefit the majority of citizens, there won't be anything of that coup. As I've always been saying, military coup in West Africa or in any country, mostly in West Africa, in Africa continent in recent times, is a product of bad governance. If we have good governance in Africa, if you have good governance in these countries, there won't be anything of that nature. In fact, the citizens will rise against them. The fact that citizens accept this coup is an indication of the loss of public interest in the government. So while the military may be restless, but the civilian government itself gave the opportunity for the military to take opportunity of bad governance to push for a change in government, which seems to be the support, to bring the support of citizens. So to me, good governance is the antidote to coup. As long as we have bad governance, as long as we have policies that are not promoting welfare of citizens, there will always be restless military interventions in the continent.
Now, you just mentioned good governance, and I'd like to hear from that. Are these coups mainly rooted in internal governance problems, or are there outside forces that also shape these outcomes?
If there is no internal crisis, if there's no internal problems, there won't be any external influence. Whichever way you look at it, or whichever way analysts look at it, external factors will not come to intervene in the country if at least as a president, if there is good governance. That is one thing I know. Yes.
So are you saying that external factors are also shaping these outcomes?
It may, but not necessarily the primary factor. It may, but not necessarily the primary factor. Because if internal government is good, then external factors will not be able to have something to capitalize on. External forces cannot sponsor internal forces against a government that is popular. It can only do that successfully for government that is unpopular. I think that is the internal governance is important to bring about a change. Yeah.
And now, talking about the internal structures, to what extent has public frustration with corruption, insecurity, and of course weak state institutions created conditions that make coups a lot easier to happen now?
Well, presently in the continent, the internal governance structure and policies are not public friendly. And that is why you see that a majority of those who are leaving their countries to Europe and America, they are from this part. If the governors in these countries are good, and they promote the welfare of citizens, there won't be the need for people to japa or to jakpada or to do all manner of things. We can see it from look at virtually all African countries. There are internal political crises that are creating templates for external forces to intervene. Look at what happened in Nigeria in recent times. Look at the terrorist activity. We had rumors of coup in Nigeria that was suppressed. Look at what is happening in Nigeria right now. If there's any change in Nigeria today, will Nigerians not support it? They will. That is the truth. Look at it in other countries. While you see leaders who are enriching themselves, while people are living in poverty. Look at security. People are not secure. People cannot travel. Government officials, they travel by here. Citizens travel by road, bad roads. And even security agents position themselves in bad portions of the road. Similarly, criminals will position themselves in the bad portions of the road.
Mm-hmm.
So people are not happy. That is the truth. African citizens are not happy. That is why they want to spend any amount of money to take them out of the continent. That even if they are doing undignified jobs outside the country, but one thing they know is that, okay, well, with this we are doing, we have our peace. But there's no peace. Yeah. You can't travel safely. So it's appalling. It's appalling. Yes, and there's AAU, ECOWAS must work on government, not on military, not ordering them to go back to barracks. No, ask your civilian counterparts to be responsible and accountable to citizens. If you have accountable and responsible government in the continent, there won't be the military. There won't be. Why are we not having military coup in America? Why are we not having a coup in Britain? They have their internal political crisis, but it didn't affect governance. Citizens are well thought out. But here in Africa, what we have is this: stealing in a public glare. Corruption has become the rule, the order of the day. So what do you expect? People will. People will clamor for a change in whatever form.
Yes, Doctor, you made a point right now about how why you observed why we may not be seeing coups in regions or countries like the United States and others. You are now joining us from South Africa, and I understand that the demographic might be a little bit different, but I'd like to question when we speak about democracy and the decline, because some observers are arguing that democratic decline in the region is opening the door for military intervention. Would you say that they are right to make these claims?
Yes, they are right, and that has been my position for a long time. In fact, my idea has always, okay, I think I was in a conference recently, and I was proposing the theory of what I call the madman theory, that we need just one madman in government that will be ruthless against corruption and will be lenient towards good governance. That when we have that kind of ruthless people, because until you root out this corruption, entrenched corruption in our government, we are not going anywhere. Bring so many other things, we won't go anywhere. Look at the government. The government we are having now is I can see the insanity in policy directions. I can see insanity in policy directions. And so we cannot continue to be this. If there is democracy, I mean stable democracy, stability, there won't be any nobody will subscribe to coup. But as for me, to me, I believe that all this civilian talk you are talking about, that we must go to the poll. How many elections have we are credible these days? How many? Look at what is happening in Nigeria just now. Look, we are, because we are preparing for 2027. See all that kind of political hanky-panky that they are carrying out. So it is not until when we talk about democracy, people say, okay, African democracy. There's nothing like African democracy. Democracy is democracy everywhere. Accountability. When you are accountable, there won't be any problem. But government are not accountable. You don't have accountable government. So that's the problem. So the path of democracy is the surest way to silence coup. If there's no accountable government, we'll continue to have coup in Africa. We want accountability. We want good governance. We don't want the fact that people are traveling out of the continent to go and for refuge outside the continent is a manifestation of failing states. We are failing. Let's talk the truth to ourselves. African government, we are failing.
Right.
Look at Nigeria. Look at South Africa. These are the greatest economies in the continent. And look at what we are having.
Thank you so much.
Insecurity.
Doctor, thank you so much for your time and your insight on that.